Good evening. My name is Michael Day, and welcome to the Mattioli Arena here in Leicester for live coverage of the 2026 Unibet British Open qualifying round here on WST Play. This evening, here on table number one, it's Wales versus England, as Daniel Wells faces Liam Pullen, with the winner set to go through to the last 64 and the televised stages of the competition in several weeks' time in Cheltenham. And it's Daniel that gets us underway. All the matches here in the opening few rounds of the tournament, best of 7 frames. The matches played straight through, so no mid-session interval after the fourth. And this should be a very intriguing affair. Don't think there's much to separate the two players currently. They have met twice before on the World Snooker Tour. And one of those contests was a very big one indeed. It came in the quarterfinal stages of last season's Xi'an Grand Prix. On that occasion in China, Daniel Wells won 5-2. However, just days later, they met on UK soil in the qualifying rounds for the Scottish Open, and Liam Pullen got a bit of Bayes revenge because he won 4-0 on that occasion. So it's currently 1-1 on the head-to-head count. It's another very busy session of play this evening here in Leicester. 6 tables are in operation. This is the first of 2 days of qualifying. Well, that wasn't as planned for Daniel, but it's turned out very nice indeed. Yeah, the British Open is an historic event on the professional circuit. It was off the calendar for many years, but returned in 2021 and has been on the World Snooker Tour ever since. The competition uses an FA Cup style random draw, so there's no protection, regardless of world ranking position. Anybody can play anybody at any stage of the event. "128 players started the event. It is a flat draw system, so everyone will have to win 7 matches to lift the trophy. And all the opening round matches, except for the ones featuring the top 16 seeds, will be played and completed over these 2 days in Leicester. So it's a couple of very big days ahead of us here. It's not the first time that we've seen Daniel and Liam on this table this week. A few days ago, they were here on the stream table in the Shenzhen Open qualifiers. However, both of them lost, so not very fond memories of this particular table recently. Daniel will be hoping it's a bit more of an open match compared to his game against Anthony Kowalski a few nights ago. On that occasion, the match nearly lasted 5 hours. It wasn't necessarily because the players were being slow, it's just the balls turned out to be scrappy, ugly. It was just one of those matches, so I'm sure Daniel wanted it to be a bit more of an open affair. So what can Daniel do here? Well, couldn't get to the red over the corner pocket, but decided to move it, and he's actually potted a red. However, another red has come over the other corner pocket, and the cue ball is on the poke cushion, so Daniel may have a bit of a problem here in keeping this safe. I don't think he's going to entertain the idea of taking the green on. Just looking there where he can leave the cue ball, so that red is hidden by the blue. Daniel is the higher ranked of the two players. He's currently sitting 46th in the world rankings. That's 20 places above Liam, who's number 66 in the standings. But as I said earlier, this has got the makings of being a contest that you wouldn't be surprised if it went all the way. So then Daniel managed to block this red. It's Liam looking at a plant here. A lot of distance between the reds. Yeah, that's what he's tried. Very tough indeed. The red by the corner wasn't exactly over the corner pocket, so very tricky, but he had to move the red in some fashion. And in that situation, if the safety shot is not that easy, you may as well go for the pot. Okay, then. So Daniel's back in here. Hampered on the black, so considering taking on the yellow. He would dearly love to take on the black here, though, and keep this end of the table. Now, is this cue ball going to run on? Yeah, not absolutely A1 on this red. But you can certainly keep the break going here. So then, green. And he wants to send the cue ball back up to the business end of the table here. Would love to try and get on the black as soon as he can. Get that on its spot and into play. Just working out how to approach this, because there are 3 reds in the open, as you can see. They are kind of blocking each other in one way or another. Now, wants that cue ball to slow up. Is he on this red by the black? Decided that it wasn't straightforward landing on one of those 3 reds, so took the opportunity to go into the pack instead. But I don't think he's on that red, because he's looking a bit of the cue ball here on the bolt cushion. This is a big match for Liam in the context of things. He's not had a great start to the new season. He's failed to qualify for any of the 3 opening Chinese ranking events. Didn't make it through either the China Open, Wuhan Open or Shenzhen Open. He also played in the Championship League, and he was eliminated in the opening group. So Liam has lost a bit of early ground this season already, and that's not a great shot either. Daniel, on the other hand, he's had a bit of a mixed start to the new term. He had a good time at the Wuhan Open qualifiers. He defeated Sahil Nayar of Canada. And then he registered a victory over former world champion Stuart Bingham to qualify for the last 32 in the main venue stages in a few weeks' time. He also got to the final qualifying round of the China Open before going out to Zhanganda. So he's got a chance here, Daniel. Not the easiest of openings, but he has got an angle. And the red just drops in, and he's held the cue ball for the pink. So what can Daniel do here? Far from a straightforward opportunity, you have to say. Not sure if the pink will go back on its own spot when he pots it. If not, it will go onto the black spot, which might actually suit Daniel here. Oh, you wanted that cue ball just to run on a little bit more. I don't think he's got an angle here to get back down towards the reds, so may need to leave the cue ball for a mid-distance red. Or he could take the black on here. Yeah, he really wanted to be on the blue. Now then, this is an interesting situation. Daniel wanted to get on the blue. He had to go for plan B on the black instead. Where he's left the cue ball. The black has had to go in behind it in a direct line because the pink is on the black spot. So further down than what you would normally see the black ball in that situation. But Daniel can still get to this red. Wants this cue ball to slow up. Just in time, I think. He can get to the potting angle of the brown. Just using the other red to keep the cue ball down here at this end of the table. Although it does make the pink a little bit more trickier. The cue ball near the side cushion. So much so, I think Daniel is sizing up a safety shot here. Wow, that's an interesting decision. The pink was on. I don't think the black was in the way. He could have took the pink on and come at the table for the red closer to the blue, but decided to put on the brakes and play a safety instead. He's also put the brown safe, which could be insurance for him later on in the frame. So has been a bit of a scrappy affair, the opening frame here. This is far from easy, but can Liam put his first ball of the evening? If someone can get in here, it's not a bad opportunity. I think all the reds go somewhere. Pink is available. I think the black is potable into the bottom right-hand pocket. Sorry, left-hand pocket as we see. Yeah, that wasn't easy at all, though, with the rest. So Liam just opted in for safety. That's a really nice pot from Daniel Wells. Now, he's in here decent opportunity to take the opening frame in this visit, you would imagine. But he's missed the pink. I think he was putting so much concentration into getting position on this red near the blue that maybe he just took his eye off the pink a little bit there. Okay, so Liam gets his first point on the board of the evening. And the good opportunity passes to him here. Just looking from that camera angle, the red closest to the pink spot may not pot, or he may need to get the cue ball in a really precise position here. I think he was also looking at the possibility of a plant. It's one of those situations when you pot one of these balls, it kind of opens up everything. So this is an important shot. Yeah, and safely in. Now, how much of this pink can Liam hit? Yeah, not good at all. So then, what do you think about this red next to the black? It's incredibly tough if he does take it on. Well, electing to stay positive here. Well, kind of hedged his bets there, didn't he? Played the red at pace. It could have been an option to drop it in, but as I say, it was very, very tough indeed from where the cue ball was. So neither player has settled down just yet. Wow, a little bit unlucky that for Daniel Wells. So then we have been going for over half an hour now, this opening frame. It's only 19 points difference between the players with 3 reds left. That's gone very wrong for Liam Pullen. However, has this red just glued itself to the top cushion? Even if it has, I think it's a red. Daniel can just snick in. Always with these shots, it's not the pot, it's controlling the cue ball. There we are. He's not on anything here. So it's either going to be a snooker or perhaps push the green safe. Yeah, so just the tuck up from Daniel Wells. Daniel just considering what to do here. Because you would expect Liam to get this shot correct at the second attempt. Just wondering whether he can put the cue ball in a better position here. It's very unlikely that Liam is going to leave Daniel on a red in escaping from the snooker. So after that deliberation, Daniel has indeed asked the referee to replace the cue ball. As I mentioned, perhaps there was merit to playing the shot himself there, Daniel, because it's unlikely that Liam is going to leave a red on here. However, saying that, that is a misjudgment from young Liam Pullen there. Before the cue ball hit the pink, and he's overcorrected. So, mistake from Liam. This is a golden chance for Daniel Wells to get the frame one. So after thinking about what to do, whether to replace the cue ball, Daniel indeed put Liam back, and it's turned out to be the correct decision. Red leaves Liam needing a snooker here. Of course, the frame's not quite over yet. Daniel would like to see a couple more balls go down. Yeah, so Liam Pullen concedes the opening frame. It's Daniel Wells who goes 1-0 up in this best-of-7 affair. So Liam's going to get us underway here in frame 2. The opening frame was a bit of a protracted affair, nearly 40 minutes. I think there was a slight error on the scoreboard towards the end of that frame. Daniel potted red and blue. It was at that point Liam needed a snooker, but he made sure of the final red as well. Winner of this match will go through to the last 64. The entirety of that round takes place at the Centre Arena in Cheltenham at the start of September. It is a completely random draw for all the rounds in the competition. Does throw up the possibility, a more likely possibility, of a mid-ranked player, lower-ranked player coming through the field in the competition. In the meantime, that's an absolute cracker from Liam Pullen. I'm sure he'd want to put the last frame behind him and get going again. Straight away into the pack of reds. That's a beautiful shot. Really well controlled. Could have gone into them with more power there, but opted on placement instead, and he has been rewarded here. Oh, saying that though, he's potted 2 fantastic balls to get going. Then he's missed a very straightforward one. Kind of sums up Liam's season so far. As I mentioned earlier, he's not qualified for any of the first 3 Chinese ranking events. Got knocked out in the opening round of the Championship League, so It's not been a good start to the season for Liam. Talk about control. That was a very cute shot from Daniel Wells to find the gap to get on the black. He's got a choice here. He could go into the cluster of reds. Well, he did, but kind of went into them a bit timidly, really. He had that red to the northwest of the black to land on, but with the pace he decided to go into the reds, the blackers, the cue ball was just stuck into them. So both players have spurned a decent opportunity at the start of the second frame. Whilst we've got a bit of safety going on, I'll just give you a quick run through of the current scores elsewhere at the Mattioli Arena this evening. We've got 6 matches going on in this Unibet British Open qualifying round. And Ryan Day, who's a former winner of this British Open title back in 2022, he is 1-0 up against Chachapong Nasa of Thailand. Over on table number 2, Fang Zhenyi, 2-0 ahead of local player Ben Wollaston. Hwang Jihao and Zach Schuerty are locked at 1-1. So are Jamie Jones and Oliver Sykes. And the final match is Alan Taylor against Ishpreet Singh Chadha, India's number 1. And it's Taylor who's taken the opening frame. In the meantime, I think the referee has called a foul shot there. Wow, that's an interesting situation. Bit of confusion there. Daniel clearly thought that it was touching ball. And as soon as he's played away, the referee has called a miss. The referee says to Daniel, no, it wasn't touching ball. It was touching ball for the previous shot for Liam. As it happens, Daniel has played a good safety shot there under a little bit of pressure. We've already had a lot of matches here on the opening day of the Unibet British Open qualifying round. Jack Lazowski, world number 17, the highest ranked player at these qualifiers. He's made it through to his home event in Cheltenham. He defeated Scott Donaldson 4-1. And last year's runner-up to Sean Murphy, Anthony McGill, he just edged Joe O'Connor by 4 frames to 3. So Anthony will be back at the centre in a few weeks' time. Matthew Stevens, former UK Championship winner and Masters champion, he defeated Anthony Kowalski 4-2. Ricky Walden, 3-time ranking event champion, he defeated Gary Wilson, who is a former British Open finalist, by 4 frames to 1. So we've already had a lot of action take place today in Leicester. We've got another full day's coverage tomorrow. Another 4 sessions coming up, starting at 10 a.m. And then at the weekend, we've got 2 days of English Open qualifiers. That mean a couple of rounds for the first Home Nation Series event of the season. Now, is Liam going to be tempted by something here? He certainly is. That's a very good shot under the circumstances. Now then, pink on its spot, blue on its spot. Black currently out of commission, but a good chance here to get a fair few points on the board for Liam Pullen. He initially got on the professional circuit in 2023 after coming through the Q school. 2 years on tour, got relegated. However, he immediately bounced back again through the Q school. And last season, he really went up a few steps on the circuit. reached his first ranking event quarterfinal at the Xi'an Grand Prix, which I mentioned earlier. His run was stopped by Daniel Wells in the quarterfinals. And then at the end of the season, he won 4 qualifying matches to make the crucible stages of the World Championship. He lost in the opening round in Sheffield to Chris Wakelin, but he put on a really good display in front of the television cameras. So this is the second year of his tour card. Currently ranked 66th. But on the end of season provisionals, he's up to 54th. So got no ranking points to defend over the next several months. And it looks very likely that he'll break into the world's top 64, which automatically means he'll be back on the circuit again next season.
34.
Yeah, a little grimace there from Liam. This cue ball is a little bit shy of pace. So is he going to come around the table? Or is he going to leave a red from mid-distance? Yeah, just the latter option. Could just hold the cue ball enough.
41.
And this time he gets the correct side of the pink. So he's got options here. So 46 up, still 75 on the table. I don't think he's got a great angle on this red. I think he wanted to be straighter on it so he could just screw out. But the angle he's got, he's going to be going into the other reds. Oh, that's nice. He's just able to avoid the red there. Break moves on to 56, the first half century of the evening. Liam is looking for one red and a colour here to leave Daniel needing snookers. Again, can he screw the cue ball out here and land on a colour? Well, couldn't avoid the red, but controlled it fairly nicely. It's 55 up with 59 on, though, so still needs a colour. So a bit of added pressure on this blue here. Yeah, and he has missed it.
57.
Oh, has that nudge just covered Daniel on the red closest to the bottom left-hand pocket? I think it may have done. Yeah, so a bit of good fortune there for Liam Pullen, because Daniel would have had an opportunity to counter-attack. However, Daniel has got second prize. He can still win this frame without needing the snooker. That was a shot to nothing for Liam. Only needs one more red. Now then, Daniel's got a chance here to get going. He can afford to take the blue here. If he pots the blue, that would put him 49 behind with 51 on. Would mean he'd have to be a little bit careful with the final three reds, with what colours he takes on them. Yeah, and that's a nice development shot. So Daniel Wowes is carving out an opportunity here to counter-attack. Remember, Liam was just one pot away from making Daniel need a snooker. Missed that long blue. Got a bit of good fortune not to leave him on a red. But a few shots later, a slack safety pushed the red towards corner pocket. Daniel potted it. And here we are. 41 the difference, so he can afford to take the pink here. Would need to take the black off the last red, though. So it's going to be all about getting position on this yellow. It's got a nice angle here. So this is going to be all about the pace. That looks absolutely perfect for Daniel Wells. Yeah, Liam looks on. This would hurt if he was to lose this frame. Looked in complete control only a few minutes ago. What he could have done with the cue ball just going on a few more inches. It's there though. He's pretty good on this brown. So in this situation, it's all about nerve. Daniel will know this will feel like a very big frame to pinch. And that's perfect. Just drop the blue in. So that black, it's a 56 clearance from Daniel Wells. And he steals frame 2 on the final black. And he doubles his lead. He's now 2-0 up on Liam Pullen. So players are back in the arena for frame 3. It's Daniel Wells that gets us underway. As you can see, Daniel's not wearing a waistcoat or a bow tie. The dress code has been relaxed this week here in Leicester. It's been a very hot spell here in the UK. And the officials have said that the players don't have to wear the full gear unless they want to. So this frame is going to a lot be about character for Liam Pullen. That last frame will have hurt. He really looked in control and command of the frame. Went slightly wrong with the last red he potted. Elected to take on a very difficult blue into the corner pocket. Missed it. Then he didn't pot another ball for the rest of the frame. So that was very handy for Liam after Daniel's miss. Could just get through the back of reds to that red. Got a chance here to put the black on its own spot. It's not a bad opportunity, this. I think the black's available into both corner pockets. And all the reds are pretty much in the open here. He's also got a red near the bolt colours. That could be a bit of a safety net if position goes wrong or he gets wrong side of the blue. Talk about last season being a bit of a breakthrough season for Liam. He has only just turned 20 years of age. Last term at the UK Championship qualifiers, he made his first 147 in professional competition. He very nearly made another one at the World Championship qualifiers several months later. Had he have done that, he would have unlocked a £147,000 bonus prize, but just missed out on that. But he's got a golden opportunity here, and this is exactly what the doctor ordered after the drama of the last frame. The winner of this match will be guaranteed at least £3,000 for getting through to round 2. The winner of this year's Unibet British Open will pocket £100,000. Of course, all the prize money you earn gets equated to ranking points on your ranking total. So, big opportunity, as I said earlier, for an opportunity for these mid-ranked and lower-ranked players. The draw could open up slightly for them because of the random draw nature to it. We have seen a few lower-ranked players in the past do very well in this competition, get to the latter stages. It was a very different era, but back in the early 1990s, Canada's Bob Chaperone won his one and only ranking event title at the British Open. He defeated Alex Higgins in the final. In the meantime, Liam is going about his business very nicely here. The break moves on to 54. Liam very close to the finishing line here, but he'll be very keen to get across that finish line after what happened in the last frame. So full focused here. He's got the simplest of reds to leave Daniel Wells needing a snooker. There it goes. Looks as if there's plenty more points to come here, though. Potentially a century break is on as well. Liam has already made 4 centuries this season. However, they all came at the China Open qualifiers, so been a few tournaments since he's hit 3 figures. So there we have it. The first century of the match. A very good reply this from Liam Pullen under the circumstances after losing the last frame by a single point. This will make him feel a lot better very quickly. The next thing on the agenda is whether you can make this break into a total clearance. The highest break so far is 134 from Ricky Walden. Surely that won't stand for the whole tournament. So Liam here is trying to set a big target. He's potted the pink, but managed to get into the jaws there. There is 142 on here, but it's going to take some effort to pot this yellow and get on the green. Yeah, just too much. So Liam Pullen, with that brilliant contribution of 115, takes frame 3. And he halves the deficit. Daniel Welds leads 2-1. On to frame 4 we go. Liam Pullen in the last frame got on the scoreboard with a break of 115. Just a reminder, the target is 4 frames in this qualifying round for the 2026 Unibet British Open. The winner of this match goes through to the last 64 and a berth at the televised stages at the end of August and start of September in Cheltenham. Daniel will be turning 38 years old at the end of the month. His birthday's on the 31st. First term professional back in 2008. Has been on and off the World Snooker Tour since then, but certainly a very experienced cueist on the top flight. So that's gone very wrong for Daniel Wells, though. Straight away, Liam is right in the balls here. So whether this black goes, I think it does. Liam just looking there to see where the black will be placed if he was to pot it afterwards. Yeah, that's completely fine. You can take this bottom red just underneath the black. Straight away, this looks like a very good opportunity for Liam Pullen in frame 4. Just a little soft cannon there to open those 2 reds up. Maintaining position on the red to the right of the black. As well as his run to the quarterfinals of the Gien Grand Prix. The last 32 of the World Championship. Liam also reached the last 32 of the Welsh Open last season. The season before last, he reached the last 16 of the Snooker Shootout. This really is a perfect tonic for Liam Pullen. After the way he lost the second frame, Daniel Wells made a break of 56 in that frame to pinch it on the final black by 1 point. Liam had the opportunity earlier in the frame to pot a long blue to leave Daniel needing the snooker, but missed it. The last frame, he made a break of 115. And here, if he pots this black, it'll be 6 reds and 6 blacks. The break will move on to 48 now. Will he just play a little cannon here? It's that triangle of 3 reds. He did. He's still on a red here. Thoughts of a 147 though have gone out of the window because he's surely going to play on the blue off this red. I'm not too sure how much of an angle he's got on this blue. May just have to screw this back and play the red from mid-distance. Shouldn't be an issue though. So we've already got to the point where if Liam pots this black and the next red, Daniel will need penalty points. And the momentum in this match has shifted dramatically. Daniel would have been feeling like $1 million after frame 2. Liam the opposite. But since then, Daniel hasn't scored a single point. Well, that's a little bit careless from Liam Pullen there. Trying to go into the pack of reds and make another century break. There is 67 points on here. So just a 4-point snooker for Daniel to tie. Of course, a lot of work to be done before thoughts of that, but the frame is still active. I'm sure Liam would love to have made another century there. Keep Daniel welded to his chair. Yeah, and that cue ball has just gone past the green. So this is a snooker. Don't expect Liam to miss these reds. It's a fairly hefty target to hit. Although, oh, it's hit the pink. Now then, that makes a very big difference. Daniel Wells can actually win the frame now. I said before, 1 4-point snooker would have allowed him to tie, but Liam's hit the pink there, so Daniel gets 6 points added to his total. This frame is back in the balance all of a sudden. Liam will be very reluctant to bring open these reds. As we saw in frame 2, Daniel made a break of 56 with the last 4 reds to win by a single point. So we know he's got that in his locker. Just a bit tippy-tappy at the moment. Neither player wants to separate the cue ball from the reds, although Liam feels as if he's got an opportunity here to get the cue ball safe. However, in doing that, he has separated all the reds, so nothing is safe on this table now. Although Daniel has just pushed a red to the side cushion. He won't like seeing that. That has just provided Liam with a bit of added insurance in this frame. I was going to say, if Daniel could get in, he can afford to take 1 pink. But all the other reds would need to be potted with the black. That wasn't an attempt at a pot. He was deliberately trying to take the red off the side cushion and bring the cue ball set back to the alt cushion to be safe. But he's left a red over the corner pocket. So can Liam finally put this frame to bed? Yeah, so once again, this blue, sorry, he's already at the snooker's required stage, so Liam will want to make sure of a colour here. He's missed the black. Oh, you've got to be joking. Is this blue in? That is incredible. Now then, what does that do to the scoreboard? Goodness me. There's 59 points difference between the two players. There's 59 on. Liam cannot believe what has happened there. He's kind of already won this frame twice. First time he was coming out of a snooker. Looked a fairly straightforward snooker. But he ended up hitting the pink. Since then, he's potted another red to leave Daniel needing snookers. Went for the blue, missed the blue, potted. Oh, he went for the black and potted the blue inadvertently. But in the meantime, Daniel's potted his opening red, but he's not on a colour here. So this will be music to Liam's ears. Unless Daniel can somehow pot a colour here. Oh, he had to go for that. Just hits the top jaw of the middle pocket. So I'm sure Liam is feeling very relieved having watched that black miss. Although the frame is still not done. These are anxious moments that Liam could certainly do without. It's only a few minutes ago where we were talking about the potential of a century break. Back-to-back centuries for Liam. .50 points difference, 43 on. So it is 2 4-point snookers that Daniel needs. There's always a chance with red still on of a free ball. Just managed to stay on the black here. And then surely he'll look to try and lay a snooker on this final red. But he has missed the black. So much so, he offers a concession. So the frame went on a little bit longer than I thought it would. But it's Liam Pullen who does eventually take it. And he levels the match at 2 frames each. from a best of 7. It's now best of 3 here in this 2026 Unibet British Open qualifying match. If you are just joining us, Daniel Wells took a low-scoring opening frame before pinching frame 2 on the final black with a counter clearance 56. But since then, Liam Pullen has responded really well with efforts of 115 and 71. We have already had a couple of results come in from this evening's session at the Mattioli Arena in Leicester. Over on table number 2, former European Masters champion Fang Zhenyi. He defeated local player Ben Wollaston 4-1. And Jamie Jones has seen off rookie player Oliver Sykes by the same 4-1 scoreline. That means there are 4 more matches in play. This one here on table number 1. Ryan Day, who's a former winner of the British Open title, he is 3-2 up against Chachapong Nasser. Sachuati 2-1 ahead against Huang Jihao. And Alan Taylor is 2-1 to the good against Ishpreet Singh Chadha. Well, you can't get much closer to potting a ball like that. That rattled a few times. Can Liam get through to this red near the pink spot? I think he can. But it's just high. So Daniel has not been punished for his attempt at a long red to start with. It's not the worst kiss in the world for Daniel. Very nicely on this brown. Can he get the Q arm going? He's been pretty much frozen out the last 2 frames. I think he's got a few more reds to play with before he has to go into the pack. Yeah, just one separated from the main bunch here. Not sure if the cue ball's just going to graze into the cluster, whether he's straight enough to avoid having to cannon them. seeing if one of those two reds to the right side of the pack goes into the corner. I think one of them does. Now, is he on a red hit? He deserves to be. He struck that. He struck that very well indeed. If he can get through to this red to the middle, I think he can. All of a sudden, this looks like a very good opportunity for Daniel Wells. Not sure if the pink spot is covered here by that red. If it is, it would go on the yellow spot, which wouldn't be too bad in this situation for Daniel because both the black and the blue are available. Well, he just nudged that red out of the way, but it's now the cue ball that's holding the pink spot. And as I say, that's no bad thing, the pink going onto the yellow spot. It makes these reds down here a little bit more accessible. Daniel brings up another half century. The effort moves to 50. Now it's up to 58, which is his highest break of the match so far. Just gets top side of the blue. Now he is looking for colour, red colour. I believe Liam needing a snooker. I think this is okay. He's going to be cannoning into the red, or he can actually screw the cue ball out. Yeah, electing to go up for the blue here, I think. Just got to avoid the reds above this red. Well, couldn't avoid them. So then, he still needs a pot of colour here. 5 reds, 5 blacks and all the colours equals 67. Yeah, just making sure of the blue there, putting everything into making sure he gets to the 70-point mark. Like the last frame, though, it is only one 4-point snooker that Liam would need. So I'm sure Daniel would love to see the back of this red. And he has. That's a beautiful shot from Daniel Wells. Not sure if Liam would carry on here if Daniel doesn't put a colour. It's 59 on, 71 behind, so it's 3 4-point snookers to tie. Well, Liam decides to continue. Very tall order, though, you feel. So the usual practice in situations like this is the player will put a few balls with the black, but leave the final red on the table for snookers. There's always the chance of a free ball situation. Might leave the red closest to the blue as the last red. Yeah, could get a snooker behind the blue off that red. So that's going to be his plan here. He would love to put the red near one of the other colours to maximise his chances of getting a free ball. Could have done with the cue ball going on a little bit further, but he can still play the snooker here. Now, can Daniel hit enough of this left-hand side cushion? If he can, it's a fairly simple snooker to escape from. Yeah, he could. So then Daniel can pop this red. That will seal it for sure. However, just can't quite put this frame to bed. Yeah, Liam really doesn't want to pop this red. And that's one of the snookers he needs. The colours in the bulk area are not too bad for snookers, really. Got a nice big target with the green and brown. However, Daniel escapes from that off the one cushion. So he has potted the red. Surely now it's going to be frame over. Going to continue though, but by potting the pink, makes his task even trickier. Again, I think Daniel can get to the side cushion here for a one cushion escape. Won't be playing this too hardly though. This certainly looks like a tougher snooker to escape from. Is one cushion, but the yellow's in the centre of the table. Daniel does miss it. So that's 4 points that Liam needs. Difference is now 36. So then another opportunity for Daniel Wells to put this frame in the books. But again, this frame just doesn't want to quit. Oh, that's a very handy flick off the green. Very handy indeed. I'm sure Liam didn't want to separate the green from the brown there. As I say, it was a good target to lay snookers behind. However, it's worked out a treat. There's a bit of added danger here with the yellow being so close to the black. And he's hit the black. And he's left a free ball. Don't think the free ball is going to be too much good unless the black passes the yellow. But all of a sudden, this frame has got very interesting indeed. It's only 29 points difference here with 27 on. Very nearly laid another snooker there. So these are becoming unexpected, anxious moments for Daniel Wells. He will be delighted to see where the cue ball and yellow have landed, though. At one stage, I think Daniel was 40 points ahead with 27 on. So that yellow just gives him a little bit more breathing room. Liam will, of course, carry on. The difference is now 31. So Liam goes back to needing 2 4-point snookers. I think he was playing the old school trick of trying to get the green on top of or near the black there. 7-point foul would certainly do the job for Liam Pullen. Will that be his tactic here? I think it might be, you know. We've seen this situation happen before. Oh, would have just loved that green to have gone on just a little bit more. Yeah, Daniel could dig the green out of the corner fairly easily. Yeah, Daniel jumped up a little bit there. It was a bit timid from him with the cue ball and the green. Now, is Liam going to try and put the put the brown near the black? That's what he's tried. But again, this should be fairly straightforward for Daniel to move the brown away from that area. sure he wouldn't have wanted that brown going into the pink. As we saw in the last frame, there was a crazy 7-point foul from Liam Pullen. And again, tries to send this brown towards the black of the corner pocket. Again, I think Daniel can maybe come off the top cushion here. Yeah, but we can clearly see what Liam's plan is here. Well, I think he's got a fluke snooker here behind the pink. Shouldn't be too much of an issue for Daniel. And it isn't. Now, this is a very good attempt from Liam Pullen. Very, very good. Now, this is a little bit more complicated for Daniel. Got to be a little bit more careful. It was okay in the end, but that was a very fine effort from Liam Pullen. I guess he's kind of got nothing to lose here. He would love to get the brown right on top of the black. Let's go into that area yet again. However, Daniel should be able to just come off the top cushion once more. Now, could Daniel perhaps play a cross double here? That's what he attempted. That's pretty good. Well, Liam has done incredibly well to get the brown over towards the black, so close to it. Again, though, I think Daniel's got space here. Just about. These really are fine efforts from Liam Pullen. This is the correct tactic because he needs 2 4-point snookers. He could collect 7, though, if Daniel Wells was to foul by potting the black. So then, can Daniel put away this brown and surely secure the frame? Well, you can understand him being a little bit careful with the brown there. The cue ball wouldn't have been a million miles away from the middle pocket. In the meantime, we've had another result come through this evening's session. It's a win for Zach Shirati. He was a 4-1 victor over Huang Zhihao. It's been a very good week so far for Zach. He had a very fine victory over Jack Kozlowski to qualify for the Shenzhen Open only yesterday. And now he can make plans for Cheltenham in a few weeks' time as well. Meanwhile, on another table, Ryan Day and Chachapong Nasser are into a deciding frame. It's 3-3. And Ishpreet Singh Chadha has turned the tables on Alan Taylor. He now leads 3-2, so needs one more to progress to round 2. It may not look like it, but Liam is only one really good shot away from putting this frame back in the balance. We've seen him a few times get the brown very close to the black. Problem is, even if he did get the brown right on top of the black, he's got to try and get it in a way where Daniel can't just simply come off the back cushion and bring the brown away. We have seen situations like this before in a couple of very memorable matches. I remember the Northern Ireland Open final many years ago between Mark King and Barry Hawkins. There was a situation like this in the final. And a very famous one between Neil Robertson and Mark Williams in the semi-finals of the Masters. But that one's gone wrong for Liam Pullen. So another chance for Daniel Wells to deposit this brown. It would put him 32 points up. With only 18 on. But it's still not in. I think he was a little bit cautious there because if it rattled, it may have gone along the top cushion towards the black. But as it happens, Liam's got a good chance here to get the brown very close to the black. And there you see, like I said before, you could get the brown on top of the black, but if Daniel's got space to come in behind it, it's fairly straightforward to dig it out. He almost needs the brown to be touching the black and the side cushion at once. That would cause Daniel a real problem. So it's not just a case of getting the brown on top of the black. It's got to be in a way that's going to cause Daniel a real issue. So then, again, not a simple pot by any means, but Daniel's got a chance here to get rid of the brown. Again, you see he was a bit frightened of playing it sort of a normal pace. Could have potentially rattled in the jaws and gone across towards the black. Oh, I think Liam wanted that cue ball up a lot higher. If it had, he could have played a real inventive shot to get the blue onto the top of the black. As it happens, he's going to try and cut it down towards there. Yeah, that's not going to cut the mustard, though. Yeah, he wanted the cue ball a lot further up the table. So Daniel just going to, again, come off the top cushion here. Well, he went for it direct. He had enough room to do that. But the longer this exchange goes on for, you feel that Liam, at least once, is going to play a really, really smelly one for Daniel. Well, surely no way of getting the blue towards the black in this situation. May just be a containing one here for Liam. Although he may elect to pop this. Well, he's decided to keep it on the table. Again, surely no chance to push the blue towards the black here. Although that's a great effort. This is a chance, though, to get the blue into that area. Could he potentially put the cue ball near the yellow pocket and block it with the pink as well? That would be really devilish. Yeah, it's just a bit too pacey. If he could somehow line the balls up, the black, blue and pink, that would certainly make things very interesting. Now, where's this blue going? Well, that seals it. After all the action we've seen, the frame ends on a fluke. And I'm sure Daniel Wells will be very relieved to see the back of that blue. He takes frame 5 and he moves 3-2 up. He needs one more frame to progress in the Unibet British Open.
Pullen to break.
Liam Pullen breaks off in frame 6. Will it be the penultimate frame or the final frame? Daniel Wells leads 3-2. After the end of frame 5, it feels a bit like a lifetime ago, but Daniel Wells made a break of 71 in that frame. Before there was loads of goings on as Liam attempted to get the snookers he required. There was a situation where the black was near the corner pocket and he tried pushing balls towards it to get 7 points in penalty fouls. So that's a real nice opening red from Daniel Wells. Nicely on the green. He's got an angle to bring the cue ball towards the business end of the table here. And that was sweetly struck too. Managed to get the cue ball the right side of the blue. So does this red near the pink thread through the other reds into the corner pocket? It does. That's very handy indeed for Daniel. Perfect camera angle there. Elsewhere in the arena, a bit of a upset result as former Unibet British Open champion Ryan Day is out of the competition in round 1. He has been beaten by Thailand's Chachapong Nasa 4 frames to 3. So Dynamite Ryan Day, who won the British Open title 4 years ago, he won't be in Cheltenham in a few weeks' time. Daniel just asking referee Bart Tornau to respot the black, which he's entitled to do.
I will do it once. Okay.
So I just get quiet there so you can hear the players and the referee. Obviously, the situation with the respotting of the black. It's obviously very tight. Or perhaps in Daniel's mind, it shouldn't be. I'm not quite sure what the situation is, but it's certainly to do with the respotting of the black. The players are entitled to ask the referee to respot a ball. This is not straightforward, though, on this red. He's got a lot more angle on it than he would have liked. Can he play this with a lot of side to get the cue ball out? Yeah, you could see the side of the top cushion. That's very nicely done from Daniel Wells. Back in good position here. And this is slowly turning out to be a possible frame and match winning opportunity. Okay, so it's going to be a change of plan for Daniel here. He went to the cue ball a little bit further up. So he could have potentially played a cannon. But he may need to leave a red from mid-distance here. Can he dig into the cue ball enough to cannon the pink? Not sure if that's what he was attempting, but anyway, he's still on this red to the corner pocket. And that's very well controlled indeed. So the chance is definitely there now for Daniel Wells to get this match won in this visit. Break moves on to 56. It's his third half century of the evening. Again, though, he wanted to be straight on this red. It's just got a bit more angle than he would have liked. But again, he's worked that out really well. Just got to focus on this black. These can be missed. Wiped its feet, but it's there. Daniel now just needs red and a colour to leave Liam needing a snooker. Yeah, and surely that's it now. It has been a real graft at times, this match, but Daniel has done the right things at the right times here. Frame 2 was such an important juncture of the match. Daniel produced a very classy counter clearance of 56 to win it by a single point on the final black. He also took a very scrappy, low-scoring opening frame. Made a 71 break in frame 5 after Liam found a real rich vein of form, making breaks of 115 and 71 in back-to-back frames to level at 2-2. But Daniel Wells is going to be heading to Cheltenham for the televised stages of this year's Unibet British Open. 4 times a ranking event semi-finalist. We've talked about the random draw in the British Open, where it could potentially open up for a slightly lower ranked player to reach the business stages. Question is now, can Daniel end in style with a century break? And there it is. 3 figures for Daniel Wells. What a way to finish this match. I think that's career century number 121 in professional competition for Daniel Wells. Well, the brown's not there. It stays on the table. But Daniel Wells